Welcome to the TK Show with the Athletic Bay Area's Editor-in-Chief, Tim Kawakami.
Hey everybody, Tim Kawakami here at TK Show from Houston in the TNT green room, like the B room.
This is the B green room.
Not the Charles Barkley room.
Not the Charles Barkley.
It's swank and beautiful, of course. Right here, right before, this is like during the Rockets practice or availability. The Warriors are just starting to practice upstairs in the Houston facility. I'm here with TNT's, NBA.com's, The World's David Aldridge, reporting this game for TNT, the series for TNT.
Yeah.
David, we just saw game one. That was yesterday.
Yes, we did.
We've got this off day in between, game two tomorrow here. Felt like rather large moment for, I mean, is this almost, is it exaggeration to say that game might have been the whole ball of wax right there?
I mean, I'm not going to say, we've been around long enough, Tim. We know that series can turn. One sprained ankle changes everything, right? So I would never say never, but, if you look at the whole story of the season, everything that Houston did, starting with getting Chris Paul, everything they've done for a year has been about how do we beat the Warriors 4 times, right? And so you put all of that in there. You sign P.J. Tucker, you get Mbamute, you get Chris Paul, you make all these moves. You run the table basically in the regular season when your guys are healthy. Home court advantage, the whole 9, number 1 seed. Then the Warriors start the Hamptons lineup.
Yeah.
You play well against the Hamptons lineup, and you still get boat raced.
Kevon Looney comes in there.
That is scary. That is scary from the Rockets this morning.
So, okay, what do you do then? Well, if you're the Rockets, I mean, you got your thing, right?
Yeah.
Your pick and roll, your switch defense.
Yeah.
Can they change? I mean, Clint Capella last night was saying, can't just be so much isolation.
Right.
I don't know that isolation was the problem.
That's what they do, man.
It's what they do. It's that Harden goes for 41.
Yeah.
What do they do?
I don't know. I mean, I think, offensively, you try to figure out a way maybe to get Paul going a little bit. I mean, he didn't play bad, but I don't know if he got enough shots.
Yeah.
But if he gets more shots, doesn't that mean Harden gets fewer shots? You know what I mean? So they're kind of in a catch-22 here. The bottom line is can you get more out of Tucker and Mbamute and
more than 1 point out of Tucker and Mbamute?
Yeah, I think in game 2 they probably will, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, but, you're asking P.J. Tucker to be the primary guy on KD.
Yeah.
That's an all-day sucker, man. I mean,
that's a good point. I really,
you know what I mean?
And then to say score,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
What else is he supposed to do? I mean, and KD he's just walking people down to where he wants to go now. He is so locked in. You've seen this team more than I have, obviously, but man, he has been so locked in. I think the whole playoffs, but especially the last 2 rounds
since game 4.
Yeah. So I mean, he's in killer mode right now. And again, you gave up 119, and Steph didn't even do anything really. So that's scary.
Yep. Barkley, of course, says Warriors in 3 now.
Right.
Your colleague,
right?
Is this Warriors in 4? Warriors in 5?
No,
maybe?
I don't think so. Your guys always have a loose game in the
Yep.
playoff series.
Could be tomorrow.
Could be tomorrow. Could be game 3. Could be game 4. If they're up 3-1 or 3-0, it could be game 4. I mean, they're always good to barf one game away. So I'm still counting on that.
There's a quote right there.
And Houston's going to play better. I mean, they didn't play all that good last. They didn't play bad, but they didn't play good either. So they'll play better. And the desperation of game 2, and they know if they go down 0-2, they know it's their toast. I think they'll play better. I don't know if this will be Golden State's loose game, but I suspect Houston will play better, and it'll be a tighter game. Maybe get another call at home. I don't know. I think they win game 2, and it's 1-1 going back.
Okay. My sense almost, though, I mean, I might be looking at this wrong, is because the Warriors put their thumb on them.
Yeah.
That puts so much more pressure on Harden and Paul. Those 2 guys. I mean, really, it's those 2 guys. Right. Because they shouldn't and can't ask much from everyone else. Man, I mean, you put up the big fight early, and then if the Warriors push back again,
right,
and then that's when you start getting.
I thought they lost the game in the second quarter. They had gotten off to that great start and a good lead, a decent lead, and then they bring in the bench.
Yeah, and the Warriors and Curry and Durant are out, by the way.
They're out, and the first 2 plays, West West pass layup.
Yep.
West pass layup. You
Yep.
gave up 2 wide open layups in like 30 seconds.
Yep.
You know, and so that just, you know, the bench maintained, they sustained, and then, you know, the starters came back in. And so, and the problem Houston has, they don't have any bench. You know, so it's it's a problem. They got a problem.
I woke up this morning thinking, you know what? It really might be down to Gerald Green. I'm not saying Gerald
Yeah,
Green's good.
No. Somebody's got to score.
Somebody's got to. Somebody other than James Harden, and then
Somebody
Chris
else
Paul's
has to
going to score.
Right, and he'll
but
score
then
more.
I
He'll be more
don't think
aggressive.
they can say PJ Tucker go make 3 threes for us.
He can, but if you're playing Sacramento, but when he's got to spend 30 minutes on KD,
Yeah.
dude, I mean, come on, you're asking a lot now. You know, I mean, he's doing the best he can defensively. He's challenging shots.
You've covered this league for a long time.
Yeah.
You've watched Kevin Durant for his whole career.
Yeah.
Is this the best Durant's been as a two-way player?
No, there's no doubt. I don't think there's any doubt. I thought, well, let me say this: when his last year in OKC, I thought he was really good.
Yeah.
He was really good. He really was giving you effort defensively and blocking shots and all that stuff. But he's awfully good now as well. So he, you know, there, and I think it's funny. We did an interview with him. It was, you know, he does not sit down much, as you know. But I mean, one thing he said that was interesting was that when he got the MVP in 14, he felt like he didn't understand the reason he got the MVP. And it dawned on him that you didn't get the MVP because you wanted it, because you thought you deserved it. You got it because you worked for it. Yeah. And now he understands how great and important the work is as opposed to the reward. And so from that standpoint, I think Sean Livingston said it last night after the game that when they got here for shoot around, Durant was already drenched.
Yep. Yep.
He's already drenched. He is so focused. And I think, Timmy, I don't know this. I don't want to play junior psychologist, but nobody's repeated since Miami. Mm-hmm. I think he wants to repeat badly because LeBron did.
Yep.
And so that's a way to catch LeBron in one important
really
thing.
is. You know, the Warriors have had this rivalry with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Then they get Durant. He's got more of a rivalry because it's LeBron.
Yeah.
They're just those two are tied together.
Sure.
Draymond and all the other stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I see that clearly.
Yeah.
And okay. Say they get through Houston.
Yeah.
Is the Eastern team going to be a problem for them?
I mean,
if it's Boston,
if it's Boston, I tell you what, I keep waiting for those kids to play like kids, and they ain't done it yet. Keep waiting. Yeah. At some point, Jason Tatum's going to realize he's 19, right?
He's not Larry Bird.
Right? Not supposed to do this in the conference, in the playoffs, you know. And so it's amazing the confidence level. And I think it was Terry Rozier. We had a game with them late in the regular season who said that very thing. Like, the thing that Brad Stevens is best at is not X's and O's. It is he makes everybody feel like they can walk through fire, you know, and it permeates that entire team. No matter who he puts in the lineup, they feel like they can do anything.
That's interesting because that's the D'Antoni thing.
Yeah.
That's a Kerr thing, right? I might not play this guy for 5 games, and they're going to come in. They're going to produce.
Yeah,
and it's interesting that they said about Stevens because you wouldn't think that.
Right,
Butler, and his pattern, and everything's got to be certain things. So Boston have a shot yet?
Again, you look at the lineups. As good as Boston's playing, you just go. Defending champions twice in 3 years, kids. How can they win a finals? How can they beat them 4 times? And I can't say it's impossible, but it would be some pretty long odds. And you know, if it's Cleveland comes back. I mean, shit, LeBron can. It's LeBron.
He's done it before.
LeBron. You know, he can do it. He's capable. He's dangerous. He's always dangerous, no matter who he's got playing with him.
I've asked this for a few people, and not that it matters because you play each opponent who you get every year, but if you had to rank the toughest opponents the Warriors have faced in the playoffs, and I've asked Sigurd all of this and other people, who would you say is the toughest team? Well, I don't think we're going to say it's Houston this year right now, but it could have been going into it. They were in that conversation. 65 wins, but who? I know what they think. I know what the Warriors think.
Wow. The whole run?
Yeah, the whole season. Yeah, the Kerr 4 season.
Boy, that's a good question. I mean, the obvious answer to me would be Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, the Cleveland team that beat them with Kyrie and, you know, healthy Kyrie and productive Love and LeBron just going to Pluto. Yeah. You know, I mean, just playing it out of his mind. So that would, to me, would be the one because Kyrie was so capable of getting points on his own. He didn't need anything, really. He just needed the ball, and he would score. And that makes you formidable when you got the best player on earth on the other side, So I certainly think that Cleveland team was legit tough, and Thompson was playing really well then.
Yes, and they hurt the Warriors in specific areas.
Yeah.
Thompson with the rebounding.
Right.
Kyrie versus a limping Steph Curry.
Yeah, now if he's healthy, it might be a different outcome. Probably will be a different outcome.
You know what the Warriors said?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Oklahoma City that year.
Oh, the 3-1. I could see that.
As Andre Iguodala says, they had Kevin Durant.
Sure. Right.
And
no, that's legit.
In many ways, it sounds like an excuse, so they don't say it a lot. Other than the Steph injury, the Draymond suspension.
Right.
But that 7-game series, what it took for them to come back from down 3-1, drain them. Well, Andre was a shell of himself with the Cleveland series. Steph,
there's no question Steph wasn't himself and Andre. Yeah.
And that Oklahoma City team was the toughest. They will say, I think, as we line this up.
I think Kerr told us during one of our meetings in pregame, he said during that series he thought Steven Adams was the best center in the league right now. And he played great that series. He was great.
Oh, he did. He was so long. He contested everything. Okay, I mean, again, we're moving this ahead, but that's what we do.
Right.
This 4-year run of Warriors, let's just say they win a championship. 3 of 4 back-to-back. Where do they fit in NBA history?
Well, I certainly would think they're right there with that Laker 3-peat team, right? The Kobe Shaq one. The Spurs are so hard because they never won back-to-backs.
Yeah.
It was always every other year.
They only went to the finals back-to-back at the end.
Right. And so it's hard to kind of gauge. They were great. I mean, they were obviously a great team for a long time. So body of work, I would say them and the Bulls, to me, modern era, are the two best, just because of the body of work, over 10 years.
18 years or whatever.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. So, I mean, but yeah, certainly I think the Warriors would be on that next level, certainly I think above the Rockets back-to-back teams. And everybody else is kind of like a one-off, I mean, Detroit was a one-off and Boston was a one-off, and the Kobe Gasol back-to-back teams were very good, but not at this level, I don't think.
Yeah. You think is this going to extend? Do you see this Warriors team doing it at this level for another 2, 3, 4
You got to
years?
tell me where Joe Lacob's wallet's going to be in 2 years.
I know it's going to be thicker because they're going to be in Chase Center.
I will say this, and you know this too, Timmy. I don't know. There's no owner that spent money, and a lot of owners have spent money that just kept spending money forever.
Yeah, that's true.
At some point, everybody says, that's enough.
Yeah, that's true.
That's enough. Yeah. I've put in what I'm going to put in, and so is Joe Lacob the outlier that's just going to keep spending for another 7 or 8 years as the payroll gets, I don't know, it could get to 150, 160, 170. You're paying $40 million in tax and $50 million in tax. Is he going to do that? Even with the money-making machine he's going to have in that arena? I mean, he could. Maybe he's that guy. He just wants to win that badly. But that's an awful big ask. Even if Clay takes a cut, you still got to do Draymond again. You still got to do KD again. And not to mention,
you're not two $40 million a year players.
And not to mention, I know they feel like they can rotate, maybe a Jordan Bell, and they can always bring another young guy in, but at some point that catches up with you because you picked the wrong guy, and that's just human nature. You're not going to always pick the right guy. You know what I mean? The right young guy to come in and be in this system. I mean, I'm stunned that Nick Young has done anything good this year.
I think Warriors fans are stunned what happened last night.
I know. It's stunning to me. Knowing I saw him a bunch when he was in Washington, and you just go, there is no way he can contribute to a good team. There's no way. And he did.
It's been barely. There's times he has not.
We're going to take a quick break for a word from our friends at Hims, a new wellness brand for men. Is that hairline slowly starting to move backwards? I know some of you Warriors fans have used that line when talking about a certain Eastern Conference rival, but it's not funny when it starts happening to you. 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. Thing is, when you start to notice hair loss, it's too late. It's easier to keep the hair you have than to replace the hair you've lost. Do you want your hairline to recede, or do you want to do something about it? Luckily, we've got a solution for you. forhims.com, a one-stop shop for hair loss and more for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss. No weird snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements. These prescription solutions are backed by science. Save hours by going to forhims.com. It's so easy. Answer a few quick questions, a doctor will review and prescribe you products, and they are shipped directly to your door. Now is your chance to order. TK's listeners get a trial month of Hims for just $5 while supplies last. See website for full details. This would cost hundreds of dollars if you went to the doctor or a pharmacy. So, go to forhims.com/TK. That's forhims.com/TK. forhims.com/TK. Now, back to the TK show.
You know Steve, obviously Kerr real well.
Yeah.
He's been through some issues.
Yeah.
Where do you think he is just in terms of this rigorous lifestyle and his obvious...
I mean, I don't, again, it's all kind of, you can take a 30,000-foot view. I mean, I've been around him for a few weeks now with the playoffs and everything. I mean, he seems like he's a little bit better physically. He seems like he's not quite, maybe it was, I don't know if it was last year or the year before in the finals. He just looked gaunt and awful, and I felt like, oh my God, and everybody feels for him because he's in such pain. And so I think he's doing a little better. I think, how could you possibly leave this? You know what I mean? Where would you go? What would you do? I mean, this is the ultimate,
He'd go play golf every day and he can't play golf.
Right. I mean, I think he's a competitive little SOB now. He wants to win. And so, and I don't know if he was, scarred by the Phoenix thing in terms of being a management guy. I don't think it was really his thing. I think he's a hands-on guy. He wants to put his hands on players and have relationships with them that you can't have when you're the GM. So that leaves coaching. And again, so if he's going to be a coach, where else would he coach that's better than this?
San Diego doesn't have a franchise.
No, so I just don't.
Hawaii.
I think this is the perfect deal for him. So as long as physically he can handle the load, I think he's in a good spot and can keep doing this for a while.
If he's feeling good.
That's the key to everything.
And he's feeling okay. He's feeling not great.
He may never get back to great.
And that's what I think that's almost worse for him. That thinking I'm never going to feel better.
I can't imagine what that's like.
It was terrible for him 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is 2 years later.
Right.
Like he used to tell me, if you told me I could have to give away every penny I ever had, I could never work again, I had to give up everything except for my family, and I would feel better, I'd do it in a second.
Absolutely.
And 2 years later, it's still the
when
same.
I have a headache, I'm just like, my life is over, I'm ruined, it's just I can't deal with what's going on. I can't imagine what it's like to be in pain every day.
Yes.
Every day. And so some days it's a little less awful than it is the next day. I just can't. I couldn't.
And meanwhile, you go ahead and strategize to beat the Houston Rockets again, to fly all around.
Right.
Dave, a lot of people are curious about you. You're a DC guy.
I'm a DC guy.
You grew up in DC.
I
and
did.
everything. I mean, how did you start in this business? What's the background?
I was a very fortunate series of breaks occurred when I was in college. First of all, the college I went to, which was American University in DC, which I applied for. That was the only one I could afford to go to because I could stay home. That's the only reason I went. That's the only reason I got in. The other ones were great, and I wanted to go there, but we couldn't afford it. We just couldn't afford it. So being at AU got me a chance to kind of work at the Post because the high school sports editor at the time was a guy named Mike Trilling, who's passed away since then, but Mike Trilling was an AU grad. And so he would bring AU kids in to work high schools, to cover high schools. And so there had been a bunch of them. And one of my buddies had just started working there doing that, covering high schools. And so he said, Trilling wants to talk to you because we all communicate with each other. And so I was editor of the paper my junior year. So my senior year I had nothing to do. So I went down and covered high schools at the Post for a year. And then I was in the building.
Yeah.
They
knew you. They knew you. Yep.
And so
that's what I tell about have people know you.
Yeah, just get in the building. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Yeah. And so when I was one of the editors, Lenny Shapiro, said, we have an internship. And it's a summer internship and you get paid and you should think about applying for it. And I did, and I got incredibly fortunate. And again, I think they get a million great resumes. The difference is they knew me. They knew me, and I think that's why I got it. So that led to everything. That internship led to everything that's happened since.
What was your first big beat there?
I covered Georgetown. See, I was after the internship. They had a GA job that I'm pretty sure 2 or 3 people turned down, and then they came to me with. Again, I've been very lucky in this, Timmy. And so it was a GA job. I did GA for a year. And then I covered Georgetown, and then I covered the Bullets. I was going to cover the Orioles, but then we switched all the assignments around. They said, you cover the Bullets and I covered them for 5 years, which is how I think people kind of got me on the radar of, potentially being a basketball person nationally. So then I did the Redskins after that, because you got to do the Redskins. Right? So I did that for 3 years. And that was great. It was fun. It was high pressure, high intensity, but it was great, because if you can do that, you can do anything.
Yep. Redskins beat for the Washington Post?
Oh, dude, this. I mean, the most important beat at the Post is covering the President of the United States. The second most important beat is covering the Redskins. Yes. And that's not, I'm not exaggerating.
And I think it goes up and down.
I'm not exaggerating.
Absolutely.
So that's that. Once you did that and you were successful at it, you're like, I can do anything, And so, I don't know, I think it was like 28 then, 29, and so I wanted to be a columnist, but Wilbon had just started a column, Kornheiser wasn't even 50 yet, Boswell wasn't 50 yet, and I said, I'm gonna be waiting forever for a column, and so that's when ESPN called out of the blue to offer me the national NBA gig. Yeah. And I thought, I had seen guys like Willie McDonough and Ralph Wiley make the transition in Gammons. And I thought, I should try TV. I should try it, because you probably need to be decent on TV at some point, right? To continue. And that's what happened.
People always love this. You've covered such a wide span of personalities. You work with big personalities.
Yeah.
Give me 1 or 2 of your favorite people you've been around, you've dealt with, you've interviewed, you've written about.
Oh, wow. You're right. There's been so many. John Thompson was just he was
complicated guy, right?
Very complicated. Yeah. John would call. He would call you at 2 a.m. because John would practice and then do whatever, and he would look at film at midnight. And start looking at film at midnight, and he would look at it till 2 or 3 in the morning. And so that's when he would call you back. Because if you called in the afternoon, he wasn't. Yeah. He never called you back. He called you back at 2 in the morning. What do you want, MFR?
Yeah.
That is literally how we began every conversation.
That's good.
He was great to deal with, though. I mean, he treated everybody the same, badly. So he didn't play any favorites. It was great. It was a great experience covering him. And he was really, really complicated, as you mentioned. And, but really, really smart and used all of his advantages to his advantage.
He knew the media, right?
He knew how to play it like
absolutely. He wasn't naive.
He knew when to be the big 6'10" black guy and intimidate people, and then he knew when to be the really funny guy to make people laugh. He had all of that's in him,
You covered Joe Gibbs.
I did. Well,
a little bit.
No, actually, I came in the year after Gibbs left, and then I did do some Redskins when he came back, but it wasn't the same. He was. I mean, they were okay. They weren't as good as they were. They just their personnel.
The restoration years are never.
No, never turned.
They left for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're gonna beg back.
Right.
And it isn't quite.
He was totally burned out when he left. And he knew the person. They'd gotten old. His team had gotten old on him. So.
How about basketball wise? I mean, NBA wise. I mean to say.
Well, Charles. Yeah. I mean, I would. The great thing about living in D.C. in those days is how close we were to Philly. Yeah. So. I tell people, I go up to Philly with nothing, with no idea, with no preconceived, I'm going to write a story about this. I would just go up to Philly and see what Chuck had to say. Yeah. And I wrote so many takeouts just based on him saying something incredibly provocative. I remember Bob Ford. He was the beat guy at the Inquirer. And he would have to monitor Chuck every day. Yeah. And so when Chuck would say something crazy, all of us out of town guys would go, and Bob would go, oh, crap.
Yep.
Yeah, Phil Chasner. I felt so bad for him because they'd have to change him in 3 days.
Another one of your colleagues was sort of like that who I covered on the Lakers.
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal. Sure. It's like every day, like, oh my God. Shaq, could you not talk for like 3 days? I'm okay with that.
Don't say anything.
National news. Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, man.
Yeah. So Chuck was great. He was great to deal with.
What's he like to deal with?
He's still great.
Yeah. He is who he is. That's what I tell people. Yeah.
He is the most normal superstar I've ever dealt with in my life. I've never seen a guy as good as he was, who had the fame that he has, be as down to earth as he is.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have a kind of, not a veneer, but it's hard to be that famous. I always wonder what it was like to really be famous, like Tom Cruise famous, when you can't do anything, you know, and what that does to a person. It has to warp you in some way. But you would never get the sense that Charles Barkley is a famous guy.
Yeah.
He is. I have seen him in restaurants and bars and clubs. Just people walk up to him and they're just sloshed, or they're fans and geeks and the whole thing. And he's just as pleasant as he can be with everybody. It's amazing.
He's a people person.
He loves
people. He really is.
Yeah, he really does.
Which you would think after everybody coming at you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At some point, you got to go, wait a minute. I would just like to go buy a hamburger right now. I would just like to go get some soap.
I just did, by the way.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just can't imagine what it's like to never have a moment to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you're 6'6".
Right. Well, he's 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4" and 3/4. All right, I can talk to you forever, David, but I'll ask you the same question I ask everybody on my podcast.
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant? Anywhere.
Wow, my favorite restaurant. Prime 112 is awfully good.
Yeah.
Miami, it's awfully
I hear
good.
that's come up a few times.
Yeah, it's awfully good to walk. It's hard to walk away from Prime 112.
It's like an NBA hangout, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. Like, you know, during the playoffs, it seems like everybody wants. It's not that big a restaurant. But it's the hang, it's the
bars. I hear the bars.
Bars, ridiculous. I mean, it's just and you see so many, like, not just basketball people, but just like Cal Ripken. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like these random people just show up at this place because it's that kind of place. I mean, you know,
food's good.
Food's very good. The sea bass is just phenomenal.
Hard to beat any of that.
Yeah.
Is that South Beach or
South Beach?
It is South Beach.
But I got to tell you, it's a funny story. Mike Freeman, who's now a columnist, he was getting married, and he's really good friends with Jay Glazer. So we go to Freeman's wedding in New Jersey, and Glazer says we're all going to go to this spot called Dow in Midtown in New York. And we go there, and the chef that comes out and says, "No menus. We're just going to bring stuff out." It was the most amazing meal I've ever. I mean, this was like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie Big Night. It was like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They just keep bringing food out. They just keep bringing food out.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. It was great. It was amazing. Now, I haven't been back since, but that was an amazing one night in one restaurant. That was just phenomenal.
Jay Glazer probably.
Jay's pretty wired. He's got that town pretty wired, so.
All right, great. Listen, I've taken more enough time, David. I really appreciate it. We got to talk to the Warriors now.
Yes.
But great talking to you. Thanks for being on TK Show.
Anytime, man.
All right, that's the show for today. Thanks, everybody.